Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in to Sports Empire Network. I'm Kyle Edwards, of course, and I'm going to give you a World Cup recap. Well, for some of you, a recap, and for others, going to refresh your memory of what happened. The round of 16 is now over. We know who our quarterfinals round will, involve. Final 8 teams. I'll get into some of those matchups later because there are some interesting matchups that are going to happen in the quarterfinals, and I think it could be really entertaining. But like I said, quickly run through the round of 16 and let you know where we currently stand in the World Cup. So we know it started with the U.S. and Netherlands. The Netherlands got the win 3-1. Netherlands probably played their best 90 minutes of soccer so far in the World Cup. They took full advantages on the counterattack and they capitalized pretty much on all of them. Depay and De Jong wasn't that great, but Depay was just so good. And if the Netherlands can continue this quality of play, they could be a dangerous team in the quarterfinals and maybe even longer. And for the U.S., they bow out in the round of 16. Big success for them. And now it's a lot of optimism for them in terms of 2026, where the World Cup is, on North American soil because it's going to be in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. So intrigued to see what the team looks like, in 4 years. Uh, the thing will be for the U.S. that they're a team that needs a lot of experience, but with no World Cup qualifying because they automatically qualify for the next World Cup. We'll have to see what U.S. soccer can do in terms of scheduling quality uh, opponents to kind of give this team more time to gel together and that type of experience against quality teams. So we'll have to see what goes with that. But, congrats to the Netherlands for moving on. The next game, we had Argentina and Australia. Australia was another one of those teams, kind of like the U.S., where I think some fans were kind of backing them because they weren't necessarily expected to get to this point. So they were kind of, one of those underdog teams that have been playing really well and fans are getting behind. But they went up against Argentina. We know Argentina has the legend, Lionel Messi. And in this game, Messi scored not necessarily the best goal of the tournament, but it's definitely one of those that is right up there from outside the box. They gave him a little bit of space and, he found the back of the net. So Argentina, after their slow start to the tournament, if you remember, the Saudi Arabia lost in game one of the group stage. They look like that, they're getting to the point where a lot of people have seen them as a potential contender to win it all. I do wonder, if they go up against some other teams in the quarterfinals, if they can be, I guess, dynamic enough offensively against certain teams. If that makes sense to you, um, but yeah. So congrats to Argentina for moving through. Australia, another great tournament as well. They're kind of like the U.S. where they, like I said, exceeded expectations. And I think fans of Australia should really come out of this really encouraged as well. The next game, Japan, Croatia. And for this game, I think there's a lot of mixed uh, kind of emotions with it in terms of I feel like some people think pretty good game. And then I've heard some others who say that this game was kind of boring or whatever. But it ended up going 1-1 through 90 minutes, through the extra time, and they went to penalty kicks. And in the penalty, I guess, stage of the game, Croatia ended up outlasting Japan 3-1. Japan on a few of their penalty kicks looked like, maybe some of the players who took the penalties may have been nervous or, maybe the stage was too big for them because they had a couple of opportunities where, the shots weren't placed well. They didn't have a lot of power behind them, which allowed the Croatian keeper to make the save pretty easily. So, Japan bows out. I gotta admit, Japan was one of those teams through the group stage that I had a lot of fun watching because They're not the biggest team, but they're relentless. They have speed in the right areas, and Japan's a team I wouldn't be surprised if come next World Cup. I'm going to assume that they qualify for it, but they could make some noise as well in the next World Cup because you know structurally they seem like they have their stuff together. And like I said, they put a lot of pressure on teams because even with this Croatian side, like Japan made it difficult for them. It was just that Croatia just had a little bit more experience on their side, which we saw in the penalty kicks because Croatia when their players went up to take their shots, they put power behind it and they kind of let it be. Whereas, like I said, Japan was trying to place it. So Croatia moves on. Croatia is an interesting team because they do kind of play, I guess, the defense counterattack type of game. They kind of do what the Netherlands do, except for the Netherlands, I feel like, are better at it. But I do have to give a shout out to Luka Modric for Croatia. He's 37 years old. In this game against Japan, he played, I think, like 97 minutes. And, he's a dynamic player with the ball at his feet. So he's going to be, extra important for them come the next round because, as I'll talk about here in a second, they're going to go up against Brazil, who the next thing we'll talk about. Brazil took on South Korea. South Korea was kind of one of the darlings of the tournament as well. And Brazil, I mean, they showed why they are one of the best teams in the world. South Korea has played well in this tournament, but they're just not on Brazil's level. Brazil got back to their, I mean, they're called the Samba Warriors, and Samba's a dance. Brazil got back to that in this game where they're scoring goals when they needed to. Like I said, they won 4-1, so they were putting balls in the back of the net. They were having a little fun out in the field, with some skill moves and all that. Which I have to say, quick tangent here, to all the people who were trying to bring up after the game whether or not it's disrespectful in the way that they were playing. It's like, come on, man. It's like that's what Brazil's known for. Everybody knows that. So how can we now act like it's disrespectful for them being who they are? And I'm pretty sure South Korea doesn't take it that way. Because anybody who plays soccer is a soccer fan or whatever. This is the type of Brazil that attracts you to their team, the flair that they bring, the creativity and all that. So I hope, I mean, I don't think this is going to happen, but I hope Brazil continues to do what they do and don't listen to some of these people who are on the outside trying to say like it's disrespectful to play that way. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. So it is what it is. Next game, England Senegal. I believe when I did the quick preview for this round, I said Senegal could give England problems. Now the 3-0 scoreline makes it seem like England kind of had their way with Senegal. I'd say yes and no, because Senegal to start off, a lot of pressure on England. They were really going for it. They played a little bit undisciplined, but I mean, knockout round against a squad like England, I felt like that's what they thought they had to do. Now, the only issue was once England got their first goal, you could kind of see that it really took some of the intensity out of Senegal, and then England scored again, and then Senegal, they couldn't really do much about that. But I will say Senegal, another team, another good showing, and I do wonder what they would have looked like if they had Sadio Mane on their squad, who didn't play in the World Cup this time because of an injury, and he's their star player. So have to wonder that. I don't think he would have made the difference against England. England seems like they're starting to play like a team that could really win this thing. I know a lot of English fans coming into the World Cup thought that, but looking at through the group stage, England didn't really look like a team that you know, you would say was a real contender to win it all. But if they play like they did against, Senegal, would I be surprised if they won it all? No. Would I put them on the level of Brazil? Probably not. Would I put them on a level with like Argentina? I probably say England's probably a little better than Argentina, gotta say. So um, England definitely for me has looked more impressive coming out of this game, where I could see them, like I said, as a real threat in this one. All right, the next we got France, Poland. Oh, this was the game, once again, when I did the little review, that I said would probably be probably the most boring matchup out of these games in the round of 16, because the way Poland plays, the way France plays, I can see France having a pretty easy go of it. And for the most part, that's what happened. France won 3-1. They got 2 goals from Mbappe, 1 from Giroud. The Mbappe goals were world class, and he's looking like, I'd probably say, the best player in the tournament so far. He might win the Golden Boot for most goals. Um, Poland, they have their issues where, in terms of, I guess, offensive tactics, it's kind of around Lewandowski. I mean, he is the best goal scorer that they do have, but they were never going to have enough firepower to really stack up against France, who's trying to go back to back with World Cup titles. For France, I do wonder going forward in the tournament, as they're going to start coming up against better teams, are they too reliant on Mbappe to create chances for them? I know Giroud can create as well, but Mbappe is clearly the dynamic player, and maybe, going forward we might see where Benzema not being available might come back to hurt France at this point. But I'm still not going to count them out as uh, title contender to possibly go through and win that illustrious back-to-back World Cup championship. So France looked good, and yeah, I fully expected this win, so we'll keep on going. All right, so the final 2 matches which we got today: Morocco, Spain. Now, this game here, the probably, I mean, biggest surprise of the round of 16. The game ended 0-0 after 90, 0-0 after the 30-minute extra time. So after 120 minutes, no goals scored, went to penalty kicks. I think right there, Morocco had all the momentum, even though Morocco in this game played basically sitting back in their defensive half and cutting off avenues for Spain to even get close to the goal. And I think if you look at like possession, I feel like Spain probably had like 80% of the possession. But in terms of like actual chances on goal, Spain didn't really have many. So yeah, I give Morocco credit for that, because they understood that if they expose themselves or stretch themselves too much in terms of trying to press Spain, that I feel like they thought they would have gotten burnt by Spain a couple of times and then would have really been behind the 8 ball. So they, like I said, sat back, closed off shooting angles, and they took it to penalty kicks, where I'm sure most people would have expected Spain to win this one. But in a shock, Spain was held scoreless in penalty kicks. So Morocco takes it 3-0 on penalty kicks to advance past Spain, who probably last week a lot of people might have said Spain could have been one of the better teams in the tournament. And look, they are now out. I know it's going to be a big shock for, the Spanish fans. And I wonder in the coming days, if we hear about anything in terms of like changes or whatever, because I'm sure the Spanish like football confederation is not going to be happy with this loss to Morocco. Morocco, you know, I think I did also say with the round of 16 that there'd probably be like one upset in terms of one of these underdogs getting through, and it looks like Morocco was that team. So shout out to Morocco. I mean, they're definitely carrying the flag for the African nation teams. So we'll see how long this Cinderella run can continue. Now in the next round, they're going to face Portugal, who got the win not too long ago over Switzerland. Portugal won at 6-1. I mean, I think coming into this game, a lot of people thought this was going to be a really good game because Switzerland is real technical. Portugal, we know Portugal's ability to put up a scoreline like this, where they put in 6 goals. Another shock coming into this one was that Ronaldo did not start in this game because of, I guess, in disagreement with his coach and all that. So he came off the bench in like the 75th minute, I believe, but he wasn't needed. I mean, Portugal was toying with Switzerland. They were getting whatever they wanted. So the round of 16 is done. I gave you the winners, but just to remind you, this is what the quarterfinals or the final 8 looks like now. We're going to get Netherlands, Argentina. That, I think, is going to be a great game. I want to see if Netherlands continues playing kind of the sit back, get out on the counter attack. And if that does happen, it's going to put a lot of pressure on Argentina's back line, where the U.S. broke down in terms of communication and allowing guys to run free over the top. If Argentina can stop that, well, how does Netherlands counter that? And then the other way, can the Netherlands backline with Van Dijk, even De Jong in the midfield is going to be probably important with this. Can they bottle up Messi and not give him just that little bit of daylight to get a shot off? Because we know he's got world class ability to score if you give him just a little bit of room. So that's going to be an interesting little matchup there. We get Croatia versus Brazil. This one, I mean, you'd have to go with Brazil because, like I said, they just look like classic Brazil right now. Croatia is going to be about Modric. He runs the midfield. He kind of gets a lot of the offense that they do have initiated. So Brazil, I'm sure, is going to put a lot of attention on him. And then Croatia's just going to have to stop Brazil from, getting an early lead. And then, I don't know, I just think it's going to be tough. I see Brazil probably moving through in that one. But we'll see, because this has been a tournament of some strange things happening every once in a while. So maybe Croatia can, pull off a Morocco-esque type of game where, maybe they keep it scoreless or maybe 1-1 type to penalty kicks. But I fully expect Brazil to get through. England, France, very interesting matchup. Because England has a lot of talent in the front end. We've seen them, score 3 or even 6 goals that they did that game against Iran. France can put up goals as well. Now, I do wonder in terms of France, and as I said before, are they Mbappe centric to a fault? And if that's the case, is that's gonna be, I guess, on Maguire in terms of the middle of the back line for England. I'm sure he'll be probably really close to Mbappe when he has the ball, on his feet in the offensive third. And then, can this English side, I guess, which version of them will we get? Will we get the one that kind of sits back like they did against the U.S., where they didn't score and, kind of played not to lose? Or do we get the England squad that kind of goes out there, shows off their talent, and we'll probably have to look at what Southgate's starting lineup will be against France? Does Does any tactic change now that they're going up against a squad like France? So I think it's going to be a really good matchup as well. Morocco, Portugal, probably the most interesting one because Portugal, as we saw today, like when they want to, they can pour it on offensively. But Morocco, they've just been really tough to score on so far in this tournament. And can they frustrate Portugal enough with them, like I said, covering up shooting lanes and all that, that maybe Portugal is off their game and Morocco can shock them on a counterattack, or maybe instill the same game plan they had against Spain. Try to get into extra time. Try to test Portugal's depth, test their, you know, conditioning, all that. We'll see. But it's setting up to be an interesting quarterfinal. I'll definitely, be back and do another one of these. I don't know if I'll do it after each day of the quarterfinal or if I'll just wait and kind of do it like this and just run down the whole quarterfinals. We'll see. But definitely appreciate Sports Empire Network for allowing me to do this. Once again, hopefully you are enjoying these games. They've been really good. Like I said, I could see out of the 8, maybe 4 or 5 of them coming through as a champion. So, I mean, we'll see. I would say that my favorites right now would probably be Brazil and probably the England France winner. Whoever comes out of that would probably be my favorite to my second favorite, probably to face Brazil in the final. So, yeah. Make sure, of course, before I get out of here, that you use the promo code SEN Sports Empire Network. You get 20% off on SeatGeek. Who doesn't? I'm not 20%, $20 off. Sorry, your first order. I mean, who doesn't want money off? So use SeatGeek. Book your tickets for all your events. Use that promo code SCN. But like I said, thanks Sports Empire Network for allowing me to do this, and I will, catch you guys in another episode. All right, I'll see you guys.